It's now been over a month since Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes was released, and since I watched the credits roll and saw my name in the credits, I've been thinking long and hard about what I want in a sequel. And yes, if you haven't heard, the developers did state that a sequel is the aim that they are working towards, and also that they wish to carry on Murayama's legacy with the rich world he created to live on. If you watched my review for the game, you would know that I really liked it, but there were quite a few areas that the game could have been improved. This video is going to look into what I want to see in a sequel. I'd also like to know what you think of this list and what you would like to see. And just to be on the safe side, there will be some spoilers within regarding the ending credit information on some of the characters, so if you haven't completed the game yet, you may want to watch this later. Before we get into it, if you like this video, it would help me out a lot to hit that like button or the super like if you want to support the channel. Also, make sure you hit that sub button for more Eiyuden and JRPG content coming soon. Alright, let's get into it. One of my favourite things about the Suikoden series is how each of the games are interconnected. Hearing about another region or meeting characters who are from other places in the world than actually playing a game there is so rewarding and gives a sense of scale that single entry games can't achieve. So, the burning question is, where and when would the sequel take place? I think that the most likely destination would be the Goldian Empire to the north. We were able to explore Arendelle City, the Runesland Factory and Guardhaven Castle, but there's obviously a lot more to it than that. We have heard about the hidden village where Yulu and Milu are from, as well as the capital city of Arudaland, home of the Scarlet Moon department store, and based on the tidbits of information that we know about the Goldian Empire's history, I would bet that the region above the mountain ranges is massive. But then there's also the West, which includes the home of the Dragon Newts, Keenan. This is also a part of the League of Nations, but we never actually got to explore it in the game. Apparently, Vorodice and Vaiskin head to Noristar at the end of the game to raise an army to overthrow Volmoris. The West and this conflict could play a part in the sequel, or alternatively, it could just be part of a DLC. Then there's the East Reach, which is home of several characters including Mio, Hakujin and Iugo. Next to nothing is known about this place except that it seems to adopt an Asian culture in terms of their clothing. The fact is that there are many places mentioned that we know very little about, such as the Elf Village where most of the elf characters are from, Surastin from the Faded Books which basically tells the story of Aladdin, the University of Karls which is probably located in the north, Aeon, home of the Steeren to the northeast which is close to inaccessible, and even New Nevaeh from Rising. Whereabouts is that meant to be? I really need a full world map about now. But what do you think? Where would you like the next installment to take place? Let me know in the comments below. Alright, so at this point we know about more than 120 characters. Some of them we know quite a bit about, but most of them we know about as much as Jon Snow.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
Something that made the Suikoden series so amazing is meeting these characters through multiple games. Case in point, George Prime. He was optional and played such a minor role in Suikoden 2. Then came Suikoden 5, where he was one of the main characters and played a part in some of the greatest moments in the entire series. I want to see this in Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes 2. What I don't want is another case of the Trail series where just about all of them return time after time again. It should feel special to meet a past character once more and not feel like a forced given. So, what's the right amount? It totally depends on when and where the sequel is set. For a bit of perspective, Suikoden 2 had around 25 recruitable characters from Suikoden 1, with another 20 odd that played cameo roles in some way, shape or form. This makes sense because the two games were set in regions next to each other, only a few years apart. Suikoden 4, however, was set many years in the past and featured hardly any returning characters, which, to be honest, was a bit disappointing. I think a good amount would be around 10 to 20 from the original game, some of which playing much larger roles. I mean, it would be so cool to see what becomes of Yuma Siath. The end credits state that he becomes one of Euchris's greatest rulers, so to see his transformation maybe 10 years in the future could be awesome. Now, for the story itself, it goes without saying that it will take place in a new region with characters getting caught up in a new war, and this is exactly how it should be. One thing that I do wish for, however, is for the story to be darker than the first game. The ESRB rated the game as everyone, which is 10+, with the PEGI rating as 12. Sure, I guess it's a good way to get children into the world of Eiyuden Chronicle and increase sales, but let's be real, the serious moments suffered because of this. I'm not asking for an R-rated game, but when you look at the tragedies and deaths from the Suikoden series, especially the scenes involving Luca Blight, and then you compare it with what we got in Eiyuden Chronicle, the impact just isn't there. I want more memorable, impactful moments, and a great way to achieve this is working with more mature subject matter and darker writing. Now, one of the major plot points of Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes was the existence and questionable use of the primal lenses. This is basically the reason behind the war, yet we really don't know much about them. They're obviously meant to be the equivalent to the true runes from the Suikoden series, which is why it was so surprising that we never actually had access to them. I am hoping that in future installments, the main character is able to harness the power of one of these primal lenses. Those people who completed the spin-off title Eiyuden Chronicle Rising were able to use this save data to activate bonuses when starting 100 Heroes, but if you ask me, these bonuses left a lot to be desired. In Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes 2, I want some significant bonuses. It was amazing in Suikoden 2 how you could load the Suikoden 1 save, which gave you the ability to recruit Ter, the main character, into your party. Now, this carryover data should not be required to get the true ending, but if it could add an optional character to your party, that would be so cool. The next thing that a sequel needs is an improved help section. What we got in the first game was perhaps the worst I've seen in years. Now, there were quite a few basic tutorials, but they really didn't help out much at all and left many mechanics unexplained. This is especially true when it comes to the mini-games. Many of these mini-games, such as the Eggfoot Racing and Begoma, had some pretty complex mechanics, but absolutely nothing was explained. I mean, what do all these Begoma stats actually do? And having played the game as soon as it was released, there was absolutely no answers to be found online, making most of it just pure guesswork. Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes 2 could improve in this area big time. Now, let's talk about the gameplay edition, starting with the main combat system. To be honest, it was pretty damn good and doesn't necessarily need fixing, but there are a few things that I do think could enhance it. For starters, I would like to see some better balancing, and I'm not talking about certain characters being stronger than others. This actually makes sense and should be the case. What I mean is that many of the magic skills are completely useless when compared to physically attacking, and some of the hero combo attacks actually do less damage than if the character is attacked individually. Another natural addition would be implementing magic combos like in Suikoden. If all higher level magic spells could create new unique spells when used with that of another element, that would be so cool. There could also be custom formations like in Suikoden 5, except I would want it to be much more balanced than in Suikoden 5. Party formations would also add a completely new layer of strategy when it comes to party composition. Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes 2 could also do with some more variety in its rune lenses. Most of the rune categories, such as the skill runes, have very few choices, and this greatly limits how you can build your characters. Personally, I'd also like each character to have at least one single unique rune. Some characters had multiple unique runes, while others had none. When it comes to the other two battle systems, the wars and the duels, I would like to see some major updates. Starting with the duels, yes, they were awesome. Having full voice acting, outstanding animations, and multi-stage fights made them feel so epic and memorable. But mechanically, there were some issues. The removal of the traditional paper, rock, scissors formula into only having two options felt like a big leap backwards. And even with this, I still never had any idea if I made the right choice or not. There was no player feedback. The break move also seemed pointless to me. It wasn't a matter of using it strategically, you just kinda used it whenever it decided to unlock. Unless I'm missing something, and please let me know if I am, these duel mechanics need a complete overhaul. Something else that needs an overhaul is the wars. Yes, it's true. One of my very favourite moments in the game was during one of the war scenarios, but this certainly wasn't because of the mechanics. There's just a lot of nothing going on here. The grids are so small that movement or terrain is never anything you need to consider. You just move forward, use abilities when you can, then bam, you win. The unit composition also feels very limited in how your adjustments actually impact the combat. I could make a million changes and it still wouldn't feel any different. In a sequel, I really want to see something that actually makes you think, because as it stands, there was no thinking required. If the Eiyuden Chronicle series is going to turn into an expansive, successful franchise, it's going to need some consistency with its development team. Unfortunately, Yoshitaka Murayama won't be around to see the series grow, but I believe Eiyuden Chronicle is in great hands with Osamu Komuta, Junko Kawano, and Junichi Murakami. These three need to stick together. That and the composer should also make a return. Motoi Sakuraba and Michiko Naruke did an outstanding job with the soundtrack. And there we have it. Everything that I would like to see in Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes 2. What do you think? Do you agree with what I said? And what would you like to see? Let me know in the comments below. This was Hellfire RPGs, thanks for watching. If you liked this video, it would help me out a lot to hit that like button and hit that super like if you'd like to support the channel. And also make sure you hit that sub button for more Eiyuden Chronicle and JRPG content coming soon. See you next time.